Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Power Moves. Ryan and Sterling here with you again, and today we're on location at the Bear Mountain Resort outside of the community of Victoria, British Columbia. We're speaking with Electric Lawn and Garden.
We're going to be sitting down with the owner, Hayden Arbour, and chat a little bit about what's made his company so successful utilizing the battery tools.
We're going to take a walk down Electric Avenue today on Power Moves. Hayden, thanks so much for being here. We've got a beautiful day. We thought, you enjoy being outdoors, obviously, with a lawn care, with a landscaping company. Why not move the whole thing outside? So we appreciate you doing this.
Anytime.
I'm really curious. I'd love to hear what a typical day is for Electric Lawn and your crews.
Normally, I will start the day. I'm an early riser, 5-6, going to the shop where we've basically got all the batteries and stuff charging. And I'll just start to... With the trucks we use, the Ford Lightnings, they've got the frunks. And so we can charge our gear on the go. So usually we just load all the batteries and stuff, the smaller stuff in there, just because throughout the day they're charging and they're using their batteries and whatnot. And then essentially we'll start to see everyone off. I've got a couple lawn maintenance crews, garden maintenance crews, and then we've kind of got our landscaping one-off job sort of stuff. And between all of that, it's usually 8:30. We're out the door and on our way.
That's awesome. So, Electric Lawn and Garden's pretty well known around Victoria now, but how did it get its start? Or are you the originator of this idea? Or
Yes. Back in 2020, I moved here to finish my engineering degree, and then COVID happened, and everything was online, and I'm just not built that way. And so ended up taking my school money and bought a little Nissan Leaf, 2017 Nissan Leaf, and threw a hitch on it and built a trailer and went door knocking. And
nice.
Here we are now. It's come a long way, but it's very grateful. Yeah.
So over that period of time, that growth, what have you invested in specifically in your business to grow to the point where you are now with multiple crews across Victoria?
I would say property maintenance to me was always a very scalable business. It was, people would say low risk, low reward. And I was like, how can we make it low risk, high reward? What is the best way we can make this efficient? And by starting electric, not needing to deal with the fuel process of it, I knew I was eliminating, fuel costs, a lot of, regular maintenance, oil changes, stuff like that for vehicles and the time to do so. So you got to send someone to fill up your jerry cans and the time to fuel up and things like that. So I thought if I could essentially keeping the overhead costs down of fuel and maintenance and grow that way, it would kind of give you that leverage of keeping a simple thing, but reaping the highest amount of rewards that you can just by really investing and obsessing over the business model of what electric can provide, essentially.
Right. And so you're an owner-operator. You know how to run the tools, but you've also got an idea how the books work and everything.
Yeah.
Right. So you did start with a lot of gas tools, and you've moved more into battery and obviously the electric trucks as kind of the bookkeeper of the company a little bit. Have you been able to kind of quantify that financially, how that's helped your company?
Absolutely. And I would like to reiterate, we haven't used gas tools in this business. I have in previous years, like when I was in high school, mowing lawns and stuff like that. Absolutely. Right. And I knew the headaches of like the pull cord ripping and this and that. So, when electric started to come out, it's battery in, trigger on, and you're off to the races. But in terms of through the growth of it, a lot of it has been, I guess, sped up due to the fuel savings. And a big part of that is like last year in 2025, amongst all our vehicles and our gear, it was about $120,000 in fuel savings that we didn't spend. So, wow. And that grows as we grow. And especially with fuel prices right now, you can take that number and tack on, 10, 20, 30% as they rise. And so it allows us to provide steady rates and just plan for the business. It's, who knows what's going to happen in a week from now, or that's just the time we're living in. So,
right. Well, and I guess that's a really fantastic point is to think about is gas prices are variable. They go up and down. You really you can't really predict them up, but with electricity, it tends to be fairly stable off the grid. So, if you're charging the same places year after year, BC Hydro, if you're other parts of the country, I mean, really, you can predict what those costs are more or less going to be for the next several years.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that was a big part of, I mean, big part, but also a quick part of, hey, what are the electricity rates going to be 2, 5, 10 years down the road? And, you know, you hear about energy crises in Europe and stuff like that, but I'm just given where we are and the resources that we do have here in BC, especially Victoria, I just, it was kind of a no-brainer at that point.
Right. So we saw you pull up to site here in your F-150 Lightning. Obviously, you've got a frunk full of STIHL tools now. Was it always that way from the start, or have you tried different brands of tools, or have you had a mixture of this and that?
We've had some other brands in the past. Some were great, and a lot of the time, or a couple of the times now, support's just kind of fizzled out. I've noticed with the electric, it's kind of like, let's give this a go. And maybe the response wasn't as well. So a lot of companies have like, okay, let's pivot back to, you know, what we've done before.
Right.
And I've noticed that support kind of lacking, and then we're left like, what do we do? And I mean, the technology has really come a long way since, like I said, starting the company with a Nissan Leaf and cramming my 2 younger brothers into it. It was like, what the hell are we doing here? But I remember driving down the road when the 3 of us were mowing lawns, and we had, you know, 40, 50 clients, and we would just sally when we thought of getting a truck. Like, one day there will be a truck, an electric truck that we don't need to cram ourselves into with our 2 dogs. And now it's humble because we've got a fleet of them now, and I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. And a big part of that, is just from, like I said, the electric business model. Right. The fuel savings, and a lot of that has really sped the process up. But no, to answer your question, we have tried a lot of other companies and vendors, and it's just when we were trying to figure out these gear scenarios where companies were kind of pulling back, and we noticed support was missing. It was good timing of it all when STIHL approached me, and it was almost a no-brainer. And it was more so just for having the support. Like, STIHL's been great at checking in and making sure, you know, we've got the best of the best and updating with the new tech, and they're very forward thinking into regards of like where things are headed. Right. And that's never ever been the case. It's more so I'm here and I need the gear to catch up, and it's with STIHL it's different. I'm actually looking forward to, they're coming out with things that I haven't even thought of yet. Because those are the things I lay in bed and think about at night, you know?
Well, what kind of charging setup do you have? Like, I mean, you talked about charging them in your vehicle, of course, but are you doing it at your shop as well? Do you have a mobile charging solution? Like, what are you doing to make sure that you're ready for the day, all your crews, every single day?
We, before using the STIHL charging systems, because there's a house on our yard where we operate out of, and we've also got a shop too, and that's where kind of all our batteries just go and plugged in. But there was, until the charging infrastructure wasn't really there, I would set alarms at like 10 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight, because I'd have to wake up and be like, oh shit, I gotta go change the bed, because I only had so many ports to charge. And now we've wired our shop that it's with your CM12, like the charging system. Okay. I can just go to bed. And it's
literally in its infancy. You were tending to a small child.
It was, yes.
It's fun to look back on though, right?
Then there were days where everyone would show up and I'm like, we can't work today. There's no batteries. There's no batteries. I'm sorry. And it's funny little quirks like that. Like, you would never show up for work that day and be like, well, sorry. Like, you know, there's been a few, the truck didn't charge, and what do we do? And I mean, even now there's quick charging stations. There's a lot of, now we can charge on the go. So it's like, hey, here, charge while you go. And there's ways to figure it out. But like I said, in its infancy, it was very, all I can do is really laugh about it, because it's
I'm picturing the 3 guys in a Leaf towing a trailer.
With the 2 dogs. With the 2 dogs, no less.
And you're not a tiny guy. Like, it must have looked like a clown car pulling up, like, we're here to trim the grass. Like,
we would get kicked out of soil marts. Like, there's a lot of soil and landscape marts. We'd go to dump our stuff, and other companies would be like, you know, get out of here. Like, don't come in here with your car. Like, this is dumb. And we actually had a few be like, hey, we don't want you to come back here anymore. Like, the car is just a liability. Because we'd be hauling the trailer. But
load the pallet on the roof.
Tow. Yeah, I remember in a little bagged out Nissan Leaf with 3,000 pounds of sod in a trailer, taking it to the dump. And I mean, now here we are. And like I said, trucks and dump trailers. And it's awesome. It's really actually to talk about it. It's funny. It's reminiscent
it's
for
character
sure.
building.
Yes, yes.
What do you need next as a business owner and a landscaping company to take it to the next level?
There's been a few things like I have a lot of people always asking me like solar. Why don't you run your business off solar? And the cost benefit of that, it's still so expensive to implement solar versus what our cost actually is. Like I could introduce a $30,000 solar system into our yard, but for what? We're saving our $1,200 hydro bill every 2 months. And so in terms of that, I toy with that, but if you were to get bigger, sure. And I think to say that we are, fully sustainable, to think of a landscape business running off of solar, and that's great. But it's not quite there yet. It's still very new. And in terms of like day-to-day operations, like I said, what we do is a very simple business model, but we've just tried to optimize it to be as easy as it can be. And it's when you're already in the industry of electric, you start to think outside the box in all sorts of areas of life in general. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of electric trucking and things like that coming into play. It's just, simplifying it all across the board.
Right.
Hayden, I'm curious if your crews are seeing differences or if they're mentioning anything about differences in the power, folks that have run gas in their past or maybe came up through and now they're running electric. What are you hearing from them?
This has changed a bunch over the years. And like I said, when we started out, it was just me and my brothers. And I remember, especially on those wet mow days, needing to go out, we dreaded it because we just knew, and this is back 2020, 2021, where we knew that trying to get through, 4 or 5 inches of wet grass was going to suck with the electric. And it's just something that we had to do at the time. But, and now fast forward, 5 years from now, it's just as good, if not better.
Wow.
They're, the technology that they have. And like I said, previous brands that we had used, you noticed that the power would deplete as the battery usage depleted of that battery. Whereas now, like with the STIHL AP system, you've got that 100% power from 100 to 0 in terms of the battery capacity.
Right.
So when it dies, it dies. It's not that dwindling.
Yeah.
And some of the blowers they have on the market now are even exceeding what gas can do. And so you just kind of get the benefit of the tool that you need minus the cost, and the noise pollution is a big part of it as well.
Hayden, obviously the volume of work that you and your crews, your business is doing, how are the tools holding up? What sort of durability are you seeing in longevity? Because obviously that's crucial to you as a business owner.
Very much so. In terms of the new, all the STIHL gear we have has been very good for us. The chainsaws are the best of the best, hedge trimmers, all of that stuff. It holds up very well. As long as we stay on top of battery maintenance, tool maintenance, keeping things sharp, that's a big thing actually, is if you're going out mowing lawns with a dull mower with electric, you notice that battery consumption a lot more just because, it's harder to cut and it adds up over the course of a day. I get called an asshole, but I tell everybody not to use the powered wheels because I'm like, why? It's going to use battery. You can mow more lawns if you don't use the powered wheels. Duh. Right. And no, it's good. It's little things like that. But in terms of durability, no, it's great. And if say something does break, that was a big reason why we outfitted our company with STIHL, is just there's a quick response. There's somebody you can speak to, and within a week or two, you've either got your tool back or it's replaced with something new. Whereas, older brands that we had tried, it was crickets on the other end. So now we're just left with this graveyard of gear that we can't really do anything with. So.
Right. It's kind of nice when you got an issue, you're not hitting a helpline. You're not going to a
Totally.
box store and ask somebody that doesn't quite have the info.
Yeah.
You're able to,
Totally.
There's somebody you can go to and talk near enough to you and have the problem fixed right away. I think that's pretty...
very valuable.
Very valuable as a business owner.
Yeah.
So I come from a bit of a forestry background, and I know with the forestry guys, there was always a pushback using battery over gas tools. But I know as we've started to use them, we're noticing that the battery is just as strong, if not stronger in some cases, with a lot of the tools. How are you? Are you finding any pushback with that, with employees that are used to using gas and switching over to battery?
if anything, the first couple weeks, there's a bit of I can tell that they're, hesitant towards this gear, and it's more so just them trying it and using it, and within a month, everyone is, they've used it, they've took it all in, and yeah, always it's just as good, if not better. And then the benefits that come along with battery, then you start to outweigh. It's like, okay, the quiet, the efficiency,
right?
No, nothing but raving reviews, especially with STIHL's batteries. Like I said, we had other brands in the past, and switching to the AP system, just having that full power for the full usage of that battery makes a big difference. Because you'll start mowing a lawn, and you don't want that to kind of taper as you finish, or otherwise you'll see the progression of that lost power. And with battery, it's just got to be start to finish the same as what gas would be. Like, you've got to have those comparisons, and I think we're at that point now where we're there, if not exceeding it.
Hayden, listen, can't thank you enough for doing this. You took time out of your guaranteed very busy schedule to come sit at a podcast studio with us out at nature.
You're welcome.
And we really appreciate you making your own sign for electric lawn.
Yeah, I did that last night.
Very cool. Yeah, that's good of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
in
you're
between all the other many things you're doing.
Totally. Well, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Folks, if you want to learn more about electric lawn, about battery-powered tools and equipment, you can go to stihl.ca. And of course, you can catch Power Moves wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks so much for watching.